What's up, Raider Nation? Welcome to the Silver and Black Lair. I'm your host, the Bat Fry, Kenny Fry. I hope you are doing well. I, on the other hand, am struggling. I've been sick for the last couple of weeks. That's why you have not seen me doing Silver and Black Lair Kings, Silver and Black Lair Raiders, or the Bat Cave. The last week and a half, 2 weeks, I've been sick, and then I wasn't sick, but I had a sore throat, and it's been a struggle. Constant coughing, and finally my voice is somewhat understandable. I got a little bit of volume to it, so I figured I'd try to give it a go as much as I can, and talk a little bit of Raider football here, and see if I can do it without coughing everywhere and making a muck of it. So, to kick it off, crazy Super Bowl, right? I guess nobody really thought that we'd see the Chiefs get handled the way that they did get handled. I, for one, had no problem with it. I enjoyed watching the Eagles thoroughly pound the Chiefs, and I really enjoyed watching a sulking Travis Kelce on the sideline. I mean, if you've ever seen the show before, my thoughts and feelings on Travis Kelce. I know the last episode I did probably about a week and a half ago. I really laid into it pretty good. I laid it on thick. My distaste for Travis Kelce, my disdain for him, and that does not waver at all. That does not waver. I do not feel bad for the man. I enjoy watching him wallow in self-pity. I enjoy watching him struggle against the Eagles. And, I have nothing against Taylor Swift. It's nothing against Taylor Swift at all. You might think, well, why he just hates Taylor Swift. That's why he hates Travis. I hate Travis Kelce because I think he's a dickhead douchebag, and he kills the Raiders. So Jason Kelce seems like a good dude, down to earth. Travis Kelce seems like a dickhead. I don't know. I could be way off on that. Just public personas. You see one guy, one brother, Jason Kelce, portray one person, and then you see Travis portray a different type of person. And I would venture to guess that 75 to 80% of the people out there would rather hang out with Jason than Travis. And after you hung out with Travis, that 25% would probably change their minds and want to hang out with Jason. So that's just my thoughts on that. And you know what? It's something I mentioned on the Sully Squad, which is a show here on Out of the Box Sports Entertainment. You can catch them every Monday, 6 p.m., talking Philly sports, the Flyers, 76ers, Eagles, the Phillies. And it's something I mentioned to the Sully Squad a couple of weeks ago before the Super Bowl, that I felt like that the Chiefs were really going to nail down Saquon Barkley, and that it was going to have to be Jalen Hurts that was going to have to win that game. And then he did a good job, minus one bad pass. The interception there was way underthrown. I think a little bit of pressure in his face or whatever it was. But even so, poor pass. And it's just you can't have that in a Super Bowl. And he was lucky enough to where it didn't come back and bite him in the ass. Defense was phenomenal for the Eagles. They were all over Patrick Mahomes. And, no breathing room for him. No chance for a run game for the Chiefs. And a few drop balls. I don't know how many drop balls, passes they had. I know D-Hop had one or two. Kelce had one or two. And the blocking by Kelce was absolutely atrocious. I really enjoyed watching a TikTok of Travis Kelce blowing block after block after block. It brought warmth to my cold black heart. So you got a comment here before I kick into some Raider talk. Hey, Commanders Gridiron checking in. Our good boy Steve checking in from the Commanders Gridiron. You check them out on Tuesday nights, 8:30 p.m. Commanders, great season this year. Absolutely. Hopefully it's something they can build on and they continue moving that in the right direction. When you have teams, all four teams in the East and in the NFC East playing well, it makes for better football. So far, they had two this year. Hopefully the Cowboys can right the ship, and the Giants as well. It's just it's that northeast corridor, the I-95. It's a large population, and football's rampant here in the Northeast, and it's a lot more fun when those teams are all good, or at least competitive. So it's great to see that they're out there and appears to be heading in the right direction. But again, yeah, you got to build on this past season and continue. And we'll see where it goes from there. But Steve does a great show on Tuesday nights. Be sure to check him out. Give him a follow there on X, Commander's Gridiron. And Steve says, GM Ken, hope you're feeling good morning, Ken. Hope you're feeling better, my friend. Lots of moving parts going on for your Raiders. Yeah, absolutely. It's something I want to get into here in a minute, Steve. I'm going to talk about Raiders coaching staff, Pete Carroll's coaching staff finalized. We're going to go through that. And if I still have somewhat of a voice, I'm going to talk a little bit Raiders quarterback options. I feel like in minus the draft, to look free agency or trade. I had a couple thoughts on that, as there's been some rumors as of late, which is a lot of fun. It's always a lot of fun. Rumors, the trade rumors and and free agency type stuff is always a lot of fun. It always takes you to like fantasy football type of deals. If you build a team, who would you build it with and whatnot. So it's always a lot of fun. But I'm going to go ahead and kick this off with the Raiders coaching staff, their hires. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown from the Raiders app that I have on my phone on each coach and their experience. And I think it'll be a little bit of fun. We'll see what happens. It could be just long-winded nonsense that you don't really care about, but we'll see what happens. All right, so looking offensively, 2025 Raiders coaching staff, of course, head coach Pete Carroll. We know mostly Pete Carroll's his accolades and stuff like that, what he was able to do in Seattle and USC and such. But here's the rundown of Pete. He enters his 31st season in the NFL. Spent in the last 14 seasons, executive VP and head coach of the Sea Chickens from 2010 to 2023. 9 years at USC, 01 to 09. He's D-backs coach at Buffalo in 84 and in Minnesota, 85 to 89, before becoming the Jets defensive coordinator from 90 to 93, and then their head coach in 94. He spent 2 years as San Francisco's D coordinator, 95 and 96, before becoming the head coach of the Pats, 97 and 99. Coaching career started at the collegiate level at Pacific, for a few years, 74 to 76. Excuse me. He spent one season as a graduate assistant working with the secondary at Arkansas, the Razorbacks in 77. Had since secondary coach at Iowa State and Ohio State before spending 3 seasons from 1980 to 82 as the defensive coordinator and secondary coach at North Carolina State. And then he returned to Pacific in 83 as the assistant head coach and defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator. All right, so that's Pete Carroll's rundown. Looking at his senior vice president of coaching operations, we have Matt Caporo. It's his 22nd NFL season, 12th season with the Raiders. He returns to the Silver and Black after 15 seasons with the Sea Chickens, including his final 3 seasons, 22 to 24, as VP of coaching operations. Prior to joining the Sea Chickens, he spent 1 season with USC in 09 and 6 seasons with the Oakland Raiders from 03 to 08. 09 USC, he served as director of football operations in his 6 seasons with the Raiders. He spent 5 seasons, 04 to 08, as an assistant to the head coach, and his first season in 03 as coach's assistant. All right, so moving on from there, I'm not going to keep going on that. Looking at the Raiders' offensive coordinator, very, very interesting hire here with Chip Kelly. What to expect? I have zero idea what to expect. We know what kind of offense Chip Kelly runs. You have that fast-paced, high-octane type offense where it's just go, 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 go. And I have my thoughts, positive and negative, on that type of offense. And it runs great when you have the talent to do it, the players to do it. It does not go so well when you do not have the right players in the right spots to run that type of offense. But we'll see what happens. We'll see how they construct this roster for Chip Kelly's offense here. So looking at Chip Kelly, 34 years of coaching experience, 30 years at the collegiate level, and 4 as an NFL head coach. Most recently spent 2024 season as the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Ohio State after 6 seasons as the head coach at UCLA with moderate success there. He served as the head coach of the 49ers in 16 and the Eagles from 13 to 15. 4 seasons as head coach of the University of Oregon, 09 to 12, which is where he really made his name. And he spent 13 years at his alma mater, the University of New Hampshire, where he served as the offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach, offensive line coach, running backs coach, and stuff like that. So he's been around the block. Again, many look at him as a bit of an offensive genius. And we'll see. Well, it didn't go so well with the Eagles. I know he really tried that fast-paced offense, and it worked sometimes, and sometimes it didn't work. And you know, it's. I think it comes down to a lot of times just having the right players to run that type of scheme. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. So wide receivers coach, we have Chris Beatty, senior offensive assistant Bob Bicknell, offensive assistant Sean Binkus. Excuse me. Run game coordinator, offensive line Brennan Carroll, and that is Pete Carroll's son. He has spent a little bit of time around offensive line coaching, like as an assistant, and also as a run game coordinator. So he has a little bit of experience there. Nate Carroll, not really sure his experience. We'll go ahead and read this down. Enters his first season with the Raiders after spending 2024 with the Carolina Panthers as the pass game coordinator. He spent the previous 14 seasons with the Sea Chickens in various roles, including senior offensive assistant, wide receivers coach, assistant wide receivers coach, offensive assistant, and defensive assistant. So he's been around a little bit. Pete getting his feet wet there, getting his kids' feet wet, the Sea Chickens, and so on. So kind of interesting to see what they bring to the table. But Nate Carroll is going to be the assistant quarterbacks coach. Andy Dickerson, assistant offensive line. Kyle Fuller, offensive quality control. Dylan McCullough, running backs coach. We had Deuce McAllister there last year. The running backs did not play all that well. I don't know, you to blame it on him or not. I don't know. Offensive line was in shambles as well. Greg Olson is the quarterbacks coach. So you know, everybody knows Greg Olson. He served a stint with the Raiders under John Gruden, offensive coordinator. Not bad. My varying success again. You know, kind of. I felt like Gruden was on the right track with his team before he had to get let go. That whole debacle there. But Greg Olson enters his 23rd season in the NFL and 7th season with the Raiders, having served as the offensive coordinator from 13 to 14 and 18 to 21. Has 17 years of experience as the NFL offensive coordinator, having also held the role with the Lions, Rams, Bucks, Jags. He returns to the Raiders after most recently serving as the Sea Chickens quarterbacks coach in 2023. He also worked with the 49ers, Bears, Lions in his career as an NFL assistant, began his coaching career as a graduate assistant at Washington State before returning to his alma mater, Central Washington. He started his NFL career with the 49ers in 2001 as a quarterbacks coach. Excuse me. So Greg Olson, he's been around the block a little bit. Raiders are very familiar with him. So it's I don't think it's a bad thing. It's good to see him come back. He can also help out, not only with quarterbacks, but also with the offensive scheming and stuff like that with Chip Kelly. They can work closely together. We also have Joe Philbin. There's a recognizable name. Also, he's worked with the Raiders. He's the senior offensive assistant. He was also an offensive line coach with the Raiders. So he enters his 20th season in the NFL and 2nd season with the Raiders after spending last season as a senior offensive assistant and interim offensive line coach. He brings 39 years of coaching experience, including 5 seasons as head coach in the NFL. He's one season at Ohio State with the offensive line. He worked with the Cowboys from 2020 to 2022 as the offensive line coach, offensive coordinator with the Packers for a couple different stints, and offensive line with the Colts, and head coach with the Dolphins. Packers offensive coordinator, like I said. So yeah, he's been around also. And then tight ends coach there, you can see cut off at the bottom, Luke Steckel. All right, so moving on to the defensive side of the portion here. Let me see that. There we go. Look at that. A little slideshow. So looking at defensive side, Patrick Graham being brought back. A little bit of a surprise to myself. I was kind of surprised. I thought maybe Pete would just want to bulldoze it and start fresh. And I also thought maybe Patrick Graham would want to start fresh, kind of move on. The defense did play well. Second half, last third of the season, I thought, in my opinion anyway, that they had their moments. And a ton of injuries, but you can't blame it. Everybody has injuries. It's football. It's a tough game. It's a tough sport. So you can't blame it all on injuries. Yeah, next man up is a common phrase, and that's what it has to be. And so the Raiders were lacking depth. That's what it tells me in some areas, while other areas they had decent depth. So I don't know. But Patrick Graham does return with his fourth season for the Raiders there. You're looking at your linebackers coach is John Glenn. Assistant defensive line, Kenyon Jackson. Rob Leonard returns as defensive line and run game coordinator. Ty McKenzie, defensive assistant, linebackers coach. Bayon Rasul, defensive quality control. Marcus Robertson, defensive backs. Rip Rowan, defensive assistant. Joe Woods, pass game coordinator and defensive backs. Real quick, going back to John Glenn, he enters his 14th season as NFL head coach and most recently served as an assistant special teams coach for the Washington Commanders in 2004. So speaking of Commanders, gridiron there, we got a comment from Steve earlier. John Glenn was on that coaching staff there last year. Prior to the Commanders, he spent 12 seasons from 2012 to 2023 in multiple roles with the Sea Chickens, including linebackers coach from 18 to 23, assistant linebackers coach in 2017, defensive assistant in 16, quality control defense in 14 and 15, and coaching assistant special teams in 2012, 2013. So there's a little bit of background on John Glenn. Excuse me. So Kenyon Jackson enters his third season in the NFL and first season as the assistant defensive line coach for the Raiders. He's most recently served as the assistant defensive line coach for the Texans in 2022 after one season as defensive assistant with the Dolphins in 21. Prior to starting a coaching career, he played 4 seasons, 2016, 2019, as defensive lineman at the University of Illinois. And, of course, Rob Leonard returns for his third season with the Raiders with the added title of run game coordinator after serving as a defensive line coach from 2023-2024. Prior to Vegas, he spent one season with the Baltimore Ravens as an outside linebackers coach in 2022 after 3 seasons with the Miami Dolphins, where he served as outside linebackers coach in 2021, assistant defensive line coach in 2020, and linebackers coach in 2019. And he spent his first 6 seasons as an NFL coach, 2013-2018, as an assistant with the New York Giants. Prior to joining the NFL, he coached at his alma mater, North Carolina State. So that's a little bit of background there on some of the coaches. On the defensive side, special teams, Tom McMahon, he returns as the Raiders' special teams coach. Excuse me. It's a struggle. It's his 4th season as the Raiders' special teams coordinator and 19th season in the NFL. Prior to joining the Raiders, he spent 4 seasons as special teams coordinator for the Broncos. Before the Broncos staff, he worked as special teams coordinator for the Colts, Chiefs, Rams, the St. Louis Rams, and so on and so on. So we have Cade Rannings as the quality control for the special teams, and Darius Swinton as a special teams assistant. So special teams has been pretty solid for the Raiders, especially the kicking game for the most part. A few hiccups last year. Uh, in the field goal department, nothing too serious. I feel like Carlson will bounce back. So punting wise, I thought the punting was great. Coverage was pretty decent from what I remember. So some decent returns on the kickoff as well. So I think there's some positives, a lot of positives to look at, not too many negatives. Yeah, I'm not too. I'm indifferent with the return of Tom McMahon. I could, it is what it is. Special teams coach. So very important role, but not as sexy or as appealing as your offensive coordinator, as your defensive coordinator, or what have you. So those are your 2025 coaches under Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's first coaching staff as the Raiders the head coach. Some surprises, I guess. You could say some not lacking surprise. Some familiarity with Pete and some of these coaches that he's had under him before, and some coaches that stayed with the Raiders organization. So and some guys returning to the Raiders organization. So it's good to see some continuity. That's a big thing for the Raiders to build on, some continuity. It's something that's lacking when you're firing coaches every season or every other season, is you lose continuity. And so it's good. It's good to see some coaches staying in some pretty key roles, or even some coaches returning after being gone for a short amount of time. So, all right. Yeah, it's me. I'm big. Here we go. I'm small. All right. Excuse me. Let me get a sip here. Head of my Batman mug. Love Batman. How can you not like Batman, to be honest? I just gotta love Batman. All right, so I'm going to move on from the coaches. I'm excited about the coaching staff. To be honest, I'm excited to see what Pete brings. I know when he was first rumored as being a candidate for the Raiders, I kind of scoffed at it. Made some jokes about his age or whatever. But with the candidates that were out there, if you weren't going to get Ben Johnson, I was really hoping for Pete Carroll, just because it brings you the experience. For the most part, he's been a winner. Even when he was head coach of the Patriots and the Jets, you go back and look at those records there. They weren't bad records. He didn't have bad seasons there. And the one season with the Jets, I feel like he might have been. I think he was over 500. I don't know if he was 9-7, maybe 8-8. The Patriots, I think he had one losing season, maybe two seasons that were winning or at 500 around there, with the young Drew Bledsoe and such. So did Parcells take over after him? I don't remember. I don't think it was Belichick right after Pete Carroll. I don't think it was. I don't know. I don't think it was. But anyway, that doesn't matter. Look, the quarterback situation here with the Raiders. There's been some rumors floating around and whatnot about potential trades, free agency type stuff. And I just want to give my thoughts on some of it. The biggest rumor that I've heard were the Raiders looking to potentially trade for Matthew Stafford. And I'm fine with that. Any older quarterback, experienced quarterback, I am totally fine with the Raiders going out there and signing to a short-term contract as a bridge quarterback. The Raiders getting a young quarterback, or I doubt this would happen, but letting Aiden O'Connell learn under a highly experienced quarterback. I don't see that happen. I just see if they bring in an experienced quarterback, a veteran quarterback on a short-term deal, the Raiders will be drafting another quarterback for him to sit and watch that veteran play. And the one thing about Pete Carroll, he's been known to kind of hoard quarterbacks a little bit. He's not afraid to hold on to 3, 4, 5 quarterbacks and just see what works, see what clicks. So same thing with running backs. He's a big running backs guy. And he likes to pick up a lot of running backs, whether through draft or free agency. So Matthew Stafford. So that's one that came up. The Rams and the Raiders. Potential trade. I feel like there was another possibility for him. Maybe was it the Giants? Yeah, it was the Giants. I heard a rumor that there's a chance that the Giants could be interested in trading for Matthew Stafford, and I'm all for it. It just depends on what it's going to cost. It's going to cost a one, absolutely not. It's going to cost a two, absolutely not. We have a couple threes. Maybe give up a 3 and a 4 and an NFL ready player. I have no problem with that. I think that's a good deal. Money wise, I don't know how it plays out. I'm not a money guy. I really don't follow contracts too closely. I know the Raiders have I think around $90 million in cap space. They have the second most cap space in the NFL heading into this offseason. So they have flexibility. They have room to work with, and so that's absolutely a possibility. And like I said, I have no problem with it. Bring Stafford in for a season, 2 seasons, whatever. I'm not sure what's left on his contract, and draft a young guy this year, or even if you know what, there's nobody there that floats your boat. Maybe look next year then. I don't have a problem with that at all. And again, it depends on what the length is that you would have Stafford for. I don't know what's left on his contract, or if it's 1 year, would you extend him out another year, make it 2 years, or whatever? I'm not really sure. Another one, Aaron Rodgers. There's the rumors are that the Jets and Aaron Rodgers are going to part ways. Is Aaron Rodgers going to retire? What's Aaron Rodgers going to do? Is he going to fulfill the Favre prophecy or whatever they call it? I've been seeing it, which is hilarious. Where you go from the Packers to the Jets to the Vikings. Is that what's going to happen to Favre? Because you look at it, and the Vikings, they have J.J. McCarthy, who they drafted last year, then got hurt in the preseason. They got Sam Darnold, who played phenomenal for them this year, and then they also picked up Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes from the Giants. I guess what was it, near the end of the season or whatever it was. So they have a couple quarterbacks there, and 2 of them I think are free agents. I think Daniel Jones and I think Sam Darnold are free agents. So you have just J.J. McCarthy. So do you let go of Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones and bring in somebody like an Aaron Rodgers to fulfill the Favre prophecy? Because I'll tell you what, Favre played pretty well. At least what was it? Was his first season in Minnesota? Where they went to the NFC Championship game, and you had what the hell was the Bounty Gate, where the Saints were just all over his ass, and there's money on who could knock Favre out or whatever, and he took a hell of a beating at that game. I remember, and I was super bummed that the Vikings lost. I really wanted to see the Vikings win that game and get a chance to go win that Super Bowl. Because I feel like they would have. They had a really, really great team, and they just ran into a buzzsaw with the Saints defense. So, that's something that the Vikings are going to look to do. Raiders wise, I would have no problem. You bring in Aaron Rodgers for a year, 1 season, and see how it goes. Again, I thought I read somewhere where he said that he'd be open to the opportunity to mentor a rookie or a young quarterback for a season. So, it's right there then. It's right there. They kind of flirted with him a little bit last offseason, or no, 2 off seasons ago before he joined the Jets. And there's all rumors and speculation that he was going to come to the Raiders, be with Davante again. And, I guess Davante, I think there's rumors that he and the Jets were going to part ways too. I don't know. I don't know if he was released or not or anything like that yet. But some rumors there. And I, for one, do not want to see Davante Adams back in a silver and black uniform. I felt like he left on sour terms, in my opinion. But it's all about just winning. And if he helps us win, it is what it is. So Aaron Rodgers is one thought. Then Sam Darnold's been getting a lot of traction as well. And I do not like that one at all. I don't like it because I don't think he's proven anything. Like he had a great season with the Vikings, but where was he before? Jets, and I think was he with the Panthers? I feel like he was with the Jets and the Panthers. I could be wrong about that. Nothing there. Yeah, nothing. So I think I'm thinking of the right guy. And again, like, a very good season with the Vikings, but I just don't, there's not enough there for me to look at him and say he's our future at quarterback. We don't need to draft a quarterback. Let's go in a different direction. I just don't see that. I just don't see it because he's going to want to look for a bigger contract long term because he is a young guy, and I'm just not willing to put that kind of commitment into somebody that's not really all that proven. It was one season. So let's see here real quick. Sam Darnold. Last year, 35 touchdowns, 4,300 yards passing. So yeah, it was there. But, before that, nothing. You look at it, he was drafted by the Jets in 2018. Started 13 games there for the Jets. He was 4-9 record, 57.7% completion percentage, 17 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Excuse me. The next season with the Jets started 13 games again, 7-6, 19 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 61.9% completion percentage. So it went up a little bit, got a little bit better. And then his third season with the Jets started 12 games, 2-10 record, 9 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 59.6 completion percentage, 2,200 yards. Then he went to Carolina, started 11 games there, 4-7 record, 59.9% completion, 2,500 yards, 9 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Another year with Carolina, 6 games started, 3 interceptions, 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 1,100 yards passing. He spent a season with San Francisco. I didn't realize that. He started 1 game there, played in 10, but nothing really to speak about there. And then started the whole season with the Vikings, 14-3 record, 4,300 yards, 66.2% completion percentage, 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Awesome. Great season for him. Good for him, but I need to see consistency, to be honest with you. So, and tends to get sacked a lot. So there's that. What did I say? He was sacked 9 times against the Rams. Jesus, criminy, 9 times. Whew. That's something else. All right, so yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Sam Darnold to the Raiders thing. That's not something I'm really interested in, and I'd like to know your thoughts, Raider Nation. Who are you thinking besides draft? Just looking free agency or trade. Who would you go for? Feasible. Nothing like outlandish or whatever. But it's something that makes sense. So again, I look veteran quarterback. I'm not sure who else is going to be out there. I mean, I think Jameis Winston might be a free agent. That might be something for a season or two. Jameis is such a weird type of quarterback where there's you see the potential there of game breaker, but then you also see the potential of a game destroyer. So it's tough for Jameson Winston. I can't say his name right now. But he's somebody there. Also, Jesus, I can't think of his name. He played under Chip Kelly at Oregon. He was with the Raiders a couple seasons ago, and totally blanking on his name right now. Oh, crap. Shit, I can't remember his freaking name. Heisman Trophy and that's going to piss me off now. As soon as I see that guy's name, it's going to piss me off. But I really liked him, and I just can't think of it. I cannot think of his name. And as soon as I see it, I'm gonna. Um, is it Sam something? Sam? No, it's not Sam something. Marcus Mariota. That I was way off with Sam. I'll tell you that right now. Marcus Mariota. That's somebody who I'm interested in. Why not? Really, he has experience in the Chip Kelly offense. I believe Chip Kelly was his coach when he was at Oregon. I could be wrong. I don't know. But running quarterback, mobile, and just every once in a while he has a little bit of a case of the turnover bug. But I think it would be something to really look into. It depends on what your plan is on the draft. Are you going to draft a quarterback? Well, then you maybe kick the tires on Mariota. I mean, I don't know how you would compare him to Gardner Minshew, but I just think it'd be worth I think it'd be worth the look, to be honest with you. Where did he play this last season? Did he play with the Eagles or the Commanders? He played with the Commanders this past season, so not a whole lot of playing time in a couple blowout games. The one game he played against Dallas when there was an injury. 15 of 18 against Dallas, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 2 touchdowns against the Panthers in a blowout. 18 of 23 there. When Jaden Daniels was hurt, I guess. Oh man. So Mariota is one that I kind of like as well. It's not a bad thought. You're not going out there this upcoming season and saying, we're going to make the playoffs. We're going to win the West. We're this, that, or the other. You want to go out there. You want to get better. And the Raiders have the cap space to get better. They have the cap space to turn it totally around, to be 100% honest with you. With the amount of money that they do have, they have the cap space where they can go out there and they can they can get themselves a playoff team by plugging in the right players in the right spots, spending that cap money, and also building in the future through the draft. So there is that opportunity, but it's only going to go as far as what the quarterback position allows it. It's again, if you're going to draft a young quarterback, there is the chance. Not everybody's a Jaden Daniels, but there is a likelihood where it's not going to be a great performance the first season, and so there's that, and also you go with the veteran quarterback. You go that route, and usually the veteran quarterback, that means that they're on the back half of their career. There's always that opportunity that this season is their fall off season where, they don't have it anymore. Right. So, a couple of different things to look at there when you're making that decision. So, and speaking of cap space, before I go, because I am really struggling here, I got a tickle in my throat. I just want to keep coughing, but I'm fighting it. So a couple of weeks ago, I talked about the Raiders' unrestricted free agents, restricted free agents, and the exclusive rights free agents. And I went through that. I'm going to go through that again and kind of put out there who I think the Raiders should bring back, who I think they'll bring back, I should say, and who I think they should bring back. Unrestricted free agents, Amir Abdullah, Harrison Bryant, Adam Butler, Clavon Chason, Divine Diablo, Marcus Epps, Nate Hobbs, Darnay Holmes, John Jenkins, Malcolm Kuntz, Terrence Marshall Jr., Alexander Madison, Trayvon Merrick, Andrews Pete, Janarius Robinson, Robert Spillane, and Cody Whitehair. So right off the bat, Amir Abdullah, I don't think they should bring him back. Harrison Bryant, I don't think they'll bring him back. Adam Butler, there's the opportunity to bring Adam Butler back. A couple defensive tackles there as free agents, unrestricted free agents. You have Adam Butler and Big John Jenkins. And you look at that, the difference, Adam Butler's quite a few years younger. Adam Butler is sitting there at 31, where your John Jenkins is sitting at 37. So the difference is Adam Butler's probably going to come more expensive. The last couple seasons, he's played very well up the middle, has done well against the run, has applied a decent amount of pressure up the middle. Has turned out some sacks from the defensive tackle position. I like Adam Butler. I think the Raiders should bring him back. But I'm kind of like 50-50 if they will bring him back. I think they should, but I think right now it sits at 50-50. Clavon Chason, that's another guy who I think the Raiders should look at bringing back. But it depends on what he's going to be asking for. So I felt like when they brought him in, I think it was the second half or the last third of the season where he got some really good reps. He looked good at times. So he's a young player. I wouldn't mind seeing him around for another season or two to see what he really has. I don't think they'll bring back Divine Diablo. I don't think they'll bring back Marcus Epps. Nate Hobbs, I think they will. I think they should bring back Nate Hobbs, your nickel back there. Some questions about durability, but I think the Raiders bring him back. Darnay Holmes, I don't think they bring him back. John Jenkins, I don't think they bring back. Malcolm Koonce, I think they bring Malcolm Koonce back, but I think it's going to be a short-term deal. This past season was supposed to be his prove-it year. A contract year for him, and then he tears his ACL before the start of the season. So I feel like Koonce isn't able to cash in on the type of season he had the year before that. He was looking to build off of that last season, could not do it. So he's not able to cash in on it. So that's why I think the Raiders will re-sign Malcolm Koonce. I think it's going to be a 1-year show-me deal, and I think Malcolm Koonce will do it. I think he'll re-sign with the Raiders, and I think he'll have a great season there rushing off the edge. Terrence Marshall Jr., I don't think so. Alexander Madison, I don't think so. Trayvon Merrick, I think it's 50-50. I like Trayvon Merrick. I think he's going to ask a ton of money, and we have money to spend other places. Andrews Pete, I don't think he'll be back. I think you'll look at other veteran offensive linemen to bring in. Keep rotating them in. Janarius Robinson, I don't think I don't see him coming back either. Robert Spillane, I think that's the biggest one. That's numero uno right now in your unrestricted free agents who you need to bring back. You're hard pressed to find anybody in Raider Nation that is not pro Robert Spillane. Robert Spillane has been awesome for the Raiders since he's come here. And he's been a tackling machine. He's made plays in the pass game as well. And he's a leader on the field, excitement, energy, meshes well with Crosby. So that's the guy you got to re-sign. And I feel like he wants to be here. So let's get that done. And I feel like I feel like it will get done. I feel like he's going to be a Raider for the next few years. So. Cody Whitehair, I don't see him returning either. So restricted free agents: Zach Carter, Luke Masterson, Isaiah Palomau, Desmond Ritter, and DJ Turner. DJ Turner possibly, I think that's a 50-50. Desmond Ritter, I don't see him back. Isaiah Palomau, I feel like the Raiders should bring him back, and I think he'll be back. He's a fan favorite. And I feel like this is his time. He finished up the season really strong, got a lot of playing time due to injury. And I feel like this is his time, his chance to prove what he can do. And what better place to do it than in Las Vegas, wearing the silver and black. Luke Masterson, I don't think they re-sign him. Zach Carter, I don't think they sign him either. I'm not going to really get into the exclusive rights. That's a whole different web, rules and stuff like that. I'm not going to get into that. The one guy on there, Jordan Meredith, I think the Raiders should re-sign Jordan Meredith. He played well in the offensive line. So, re-sign him, bring him back, and also draft through the offensive line. So I think that's something that they should be doing. So that's just my thoughts there on the restricted, unrestricted free agents the Raiders have, who I think they should bring back, who I think will come back. And I feel like the offseason, you're going to see the defense built through free agency for the most part, with returning guys or other free agents and a quarterback. So And I think your offense is going to get built through the draft. It's a big running back class. I feel like wide receiver is also deep. A couple areas of need there. And the next couple of weeks, I'm going to start doing some draft talk where I think the Raiders, what I think the Raiders' areas of needs are, and who I think they potentially could look at. And eventually, we'll get to the point where I will put out there my mock draft, which doesn't mean a hell of anything, to be honest with you. So, there's no science behind it. I just kind of pick a name and kind of look at some stats, some video, and like, oh, okay, that guy looks like he can really help. So, I don't know. What else was I going to say? Defensive tackle is also very deep in this draft. So I wouldn't be surprised if you look at the Raiders in this draft. Don't be surprised if they get a running back, receiver, defensive tackle, quarterback, and offensive line. Those are the areas where I think they'll draft. They'll look to draft through, and go from there. And the offensive line, I feel like it's draft and free agency. You build through there, but I like what they're building on the offensive line. I really do. I feel it got better throughout the season, and I like JPJ at center. Hopefully that stays like that. So, all right, that's all I have for today. I am struggling right now. I'm going to go ahead and do our sponsor read. Today's show is brought to you by Jason Fine, J Fine Law Attorney, Big Al. You can reach Big Al at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jason Fine specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and falls, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. He has 3 office locations conveniently located throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. His office in New Jersey is located in Cherry Hill on 3 Greensward Lane. The phone number there is 856-209-5258. He has 2 offices in Pennsylvania, one located in Pittsburgh on 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900. The phone number there is 412-365-8151. And he has one in Philadelphia. Today's the parade. I think that's probably going on right now. So if you slip and fall or you're hit by a car or your car's flipped over by those knuckleheads in Philly, I'm looking at you, Sully Squad. No flipping over cars. You'll be sure to hit our boy Jason Fine up, and he'll hit you with a great deal. Just mention Out of the Box Sports. The phone number there, 267-888-2980, and that's located at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120. So like I said, Sully Squad's there at the parade. So no flipping over cars there, Joe. Yeah, keep an eye on Diego there too. One more thing before I get out of here. Actually, a couple more things before. You want to help me out, head on over to w.gg. That's www.w.gg and check out W Energy Drinks, the Jitterless Energy Drink. I love W Energy Drink. I really do. The flavor I have right now is dragon fruit and strawberry lemonade combination. It's phenomenal. It really is. I really dig that one. Before that, I had orange. Was it Calio Cream? I think it was called. It was orange creamsicle type flavor, mango and orange creamsicle. I thought that was good. This dragon fruit and strawberry lemonade, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I love it. So check that out. And you check that out. Use my promo code The Bat Cave. That's all one word, The Bat Cave, for 10% off your order at W Energy Drink. So be sure to follow us at Out of the Box Sports on YouTube and X at OOT Box Sports. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a follow on X. Myself, you can check me out at SB_Lair _OOTBE. You see it right above me there. Once again, it's at SB_Lair _OOTBE. Give me a follow. I follow back. My YouTube channel. Go ahead and follow that. I'm going to start putting some non-sports content on there, some goofy stuff, and see if I can become a millionaire like these damn kids do. So my YouTube channel is at the Batcave _OOTBSE. Once again, at the Batcave _OOTBSE. That's my YouTube channel. Give it if you don't mind, subscribe to it. I appreciate it. But first and foremost, be sure to subscribe to the Out of the Box Sports YouTube at OOT Box Sports. All right. And anybody out there interested in becoming a host of their own podcast show, sports or entertainment, reach out to us, and we'll figure things out. We'll figure it out. So, all right, that's all I have for today. Thank you for bearing with me as I'm recovering. Like I said, I'd sick the last week and a half. It's been a struggle. I was really sick, where just like fever, run down, and nasty stuff, but still was able to do my daily duties. And but then after that, the cough came, the sore throat, the cough. I haven't been sick with the sore throat and cough, but the sore throat and cough just has limited on what I could do. I really struggling in talking. This is the most I've talked in a week and a half. And I can feel like right there in the back of my throat, there's a tickle there, and I am fighting coughing right now. I am fighting it. Not going to cough into the microphone again. I'm going to get the hell out of here before I do. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. And until next time, you know what I'm going to say. Just win, baby. See you later.